thank you. Thanks for coming out and doing an interview with me here, Mark. And so maybe take a minute and tell everybody a little bit about who you are, and then how you got into title insurance, and maybe a little bit about Stewart Title as well.
Well, I got into title insurance by accident. Basically, I was looking for a job, and there was this company called Apple Personnel, and they were actually right down here by the monorail. And I went, oh, what have I got to lose? And I went in there, and the lady says, what are you looking for? And I said, I'm not sure. I'd like to be in the insurance business, because I had just come from the insurance business.
Okay.
And so she goes, well, I got something here that you might be interested in. It's called title insurance. I had no clue what she was talking about. So she sent me on the it was right down here at 4th and Vine, and sent me on the interview, and the guy hired me on the spot. And that's been my career ever since. It was September of 1980.
So you started in the title insurance business in 1980?
1980,
okay.
Yeah. And I've been, so it's been 35 years I've been doing this business.
Wow.
And I started out on the inside doing exams and as a title officer and whatnot, and then decided that wasn't nearly as much fun as I'd like to have. And so I went into sales and never looked back.
Okay. So what's your role now? You say you're in sales.
I'm a sales rep. Our company calls them business development officers, but it's actually a sales rep, and I represent the title company. My job is to go out and call on as many brokers, both and lenders, but typically I tend towards realtors or brokers.
Yeah.
And convince them that our title company is the one you should use, Title and Escrow.
Okay, so you mentioned your title company, so you're with Stewart Title.
Stewart Title.
Maybe tell us a little bit about the history of Stewart Title, and maybe why someone should work with Stewart Title.
Well, there's the history of Stewart Title is a combination of things. First of all, they've been around since 1892.
Okay.
So they've been around a long time. And the way that title insurance got started was, believe it or not, range wars. When the cowboys and the farmers, basically the farmers were putting up wire, barbed wire. And so the cowboys got more limited on where they could take the cows. And they started cutting the wires and breaking down the fences and stuff. And of course, the farmers didn't like that, so they shot at the cowboys that were doing it, and the cowboys fired back at them. And literally, we were created by Congress to bring peace to this whole southwest, or not southwest, but the middle part of the country where they were herding cattle. And it was a government-run thing.
Okay.
Well, of course, after that, after everything settled down and the surveys started, because that was the big thing about title insurance is surveys. You've got to have accurate surveys.
Yeah.
And so after that, then it got privatized.
Okay.
Well, Stewart Title grew out of that privatization as one of the companies. I think that at the time there were only like 4 title companies.
Okay.
For 100 years, and then obviously
there's quite a few now.
Yeah.
Okay, so title insurance started as a peacekeeper, basically, between cowboys and farmers.
Correct.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. and you were saying it was federally. It
was run by the government at the time. The Congress created it, if you will.
And now it's privatized.
Yeah, it's been. I don't think there's no government title insurance.
Okay. So, what is title insurance?
Well, when you buy or sell a house, or you get a loan, you want assurances that the legal concerns of the property are taken care of.
Okay.
And so what you do is we have a huge amount of records, which is kept current, and you're paying for those records being accurate, and that we execute on those records.
Okay.
And so what we do, we are a reporting company.
Okay.
On the status of the property, legally speaking, and then also the people that are buying and selling. And then when you get the title report, it's called a preliminary commitment. And what we're doing is committing that we have found everything necessary to your knowledge of the property, and that we are going to insure it like this, unless something changes, during the process of closing the transaction.
Okay.
So basically, you're buying insurance that everything's okay.
Okay.
And if there isn't, what you need to find out.
So when you say you were buying insurance, somebody's buying insurance to make sure that everything's okay. What is being insured?
We're insuring the record.
Okay.
Right. Basically.
And what record? So
well, the records that we keep electronically, on a computer, but the records that we keep, it's based on the legal description of every property. And so that legal description, we're ensuring that the report that we give you, and eventually we'll ensure that report is accurate, is everything you need to know about the property.
Okay. It's kind of
so there's no surprises.
No surprises.
Right. So you're paying, but you're basically paying for the records.
Okay. So in a standard title insurance policy, what's covered?
Well, again, the record. If it's insured or filed, that's the record. And that standard coverage only covers what's insured or filed, or not insured, but recorded and filed. I'm sorry. And then anything above that would be extended coverage, which is probably the next thing.
Yeah.
And extended coverage just covers beyond the record, and you pay a little bit more, for that extra coverage, because basically it's risk. Because we don't have any paperwork to support it. We only have, basically our experience. And so you get things like there's encroachments, encumbrances you didn't see, easements that you didn't know about, architectural things that come into play. So that's basically what you get beyond the record.
Okay. So for somebody that doesn't know some of those terms, an encroachment, can you help people understand what's an encroachment?
One of the most common things is overhangs from garages, somebody's garage. The survey shows that the house isn't sitting where it was supposed to be. The biggest thing, of course, is fences. And people think that they're putting the fence right in the middle between the two houses. Well, that's not necessarily the lot line. And so what you need to do is survey, and sometimes we'll call for a survey for that fence. And they either have to tear it down or get an easement to be able to use the property, whichever side it might fall on. But fences are really common encroachments.
Okay. And how about an easement? You mentioned an easement. Can you spell
well,
that out?
basically, easement is you own the property, but you're going to allow somebody to use a portion of your property. So you're going to grant them an easement for whatever purpose they need.
Okay. And then how about an encumbrance? That was another term that you used. What would an encumbrance be if you were to?
That would be something that the property has been encumbered by somebody, used for illegal or illicit purposes.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And how about a lien? That's another thing that's common. What's a lien?
Liens take different forms, and the most common lien is actually your deed of trust, the loan document. That is a lien on the property. The other thing would be something that's against the people that own the property itself, so they lien the property. Other than that, the other liens could be a shared driveway, which has also got an easement, but it's a lien on the property because it has to go with it.
Yeah. Okay. So when we're doing a transaction, one of the tenets of the purchase sale is that the title is clear.
Right.
What is clear title, and maybe what's
clear means that the normal documents involved in a transaction and the normal state of the property is clear.
Okay.
A lot of some of the other property problems that occurred were when we had the downturn or any downturn, and then you didn't have the property wasn't clear anymore. Somebody might be living there, but it was repossessed by the bank, so they weren't really the owners; they just were residents, and the bank really owned it.
Okay.
So
then, how about a cloud on the title? So what are some of the typical clouds on title?
Well, foreclosure is one.
Okay.
Somebody who is suing you and encumbering the property. Somebody has falsely been able to take a deed of trust for the property, get a loan against your property. A lot of times it happens with rental properties.
So then if there is a cloud on title, how do you go about removing those?
That's the thing is, again, we're a reporting agency, so we report whatever there might be on the property, and then let's say there is a lien or a cloud on the title. Well, we brought it to your attention, and we're not going to insure it until you figure out what to do to make it right. So it's up to basically the client. We'll give them advice on what they need to do, but whatever that encumbrance has to be taken care of.
Yeah. Okay. Before that it'll get insured. Awesome.
Plus, a buyer, let's say, doesn't want to buy a piece of property where they know there's a known lien or encroachment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a huge tax lien
Right.
on it. Yeah, that's not going to be
Basement
cool.
leaks, you know.
So then, as far as deeds, when someone buys a house, they're going to, get a deed of trust.
They're going to get a warranty deed.
Warranty deed?
Yeah, that's the transfer document. Some kind of warranty deed. It's called a statutory warranty deed.
Okay.
And all these deeds are basically approved by the state of Washington. And every state has their own form of deeds, but in our state it's a statutory warranty deed. It's the highest form of deed that you can convey to somebody of ownership.
Okay. And then what are some of the other deeds that might be a little less common?
Well, the other most common, and typically people buy a house with a loan. So there's a deed of trust.
Deed of trust.
And that actually is an agreement with the lender. It doesn't give you an interest in the property. It gives the bank an interest in the property. But it doesn't convey title.
Okay, that's what the statutory warranty deed is.
It basically involves the loan.
Okay, cool. And then since we're talking about title insurance, how often is there actually a claim?
4% of the time.
4%.
4% of all the transactions that we do, the average is 4%.
Okay.
And that 4% doesn't sound like a whole lot. It's just that 4% represents a house that could be worth millions. And whatever the problem is, whatever we missed, because basically we've missed it, and it would say it was something of record, and we shouldn't have missed it. We have to make it right, whatever it costs to make that right.
Okay. Wow. So let's take a moment. We covered most of the title questions that people might have. Let's jump over to escrow a little bit, and maybe tell us a little bit about the escrow process. What is escrow, first of all?
Well, escrow is the referees of the transaction.
Okay.
You've got two parties usually involved in a transaction, a buyer and a seller. And so all the documents that are necessary to each of those parties have to be taken care of. In other words, we have to have somebody that guides all that paperwork together so that we have what's called a closing, and everybody agrees and everyone signs their documents. And escrow takes care of executing disbursement of funds, recording, gathering all the signatures, and making sure that everything that they've asked for, that they're going to get in the transaction before they sign.
Okay.
And then in the very end, they close and record.
Okay. So typically, how long does that process take, the closing process?
It varies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on if there's all cash, if there's a lender involved. A lot of times the lender will not, I wouldn't say hold it up, it's just that there's more involved in getting the loan than there is in just signing a document that transfers a title.
So with the cash sale, how quickly could you guys close?
Typically, based on regulations and whatnot, it's 45 days.
For a cash sale?
No, not a cash sale. It'll be about 30 days for a cash sale.
Okay, cool. And then, how much does escrow cost? Like that's a question that people probably have.
Well, yeah, title insurance and escrow are regulated. Title insurance, we're usually within $25 to $50 of any other title company.
Okay.
Escrow, you're paying 50%. In other words, the seller pays 50% of the escrow fee and the buyer pays 50%. That's, unlike other fees that they might have, but it has to be equal. And the escrow fee is typically, it just depends on the price of the house because everything's a formula. So the escrow fee is, I would say, $700-800 a side, plus tax. Okay.
So each side's going to pay a portion of that fee, 50%.
They're pay 50% of the escrow fee, right?
Okay.
But it's based on the sales price of the house.
Okay. So then, one of the first parts of opening escrow, it's called, is bringing in an earnest money check, depositing the earnest money check. So, what happens to that money when the buyer deposits their earnest money?
Well, every transaction has an account, and that when that purchase sale and check comes in, the earnest money check comes in, it goes into an account. Okay. So, and then the receipt is sent out, but it goes into an account, and that account is held all the way through the escrow process until closing, and then they close the account.
Okay. Awesome.
Oh, and it's in an interest-bearing account.
Interest-bearing account. Yeah, I was waiting for that.
Yeah. So you do got to get paid. It depends. If it's a long closing, you get more, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's nice. But you don't really want, nobody
No.
Everyone
wants quick closings, believe me.
Maybe the builders want the longer closes, but not everybody else. So, as far as the escrow officer is concerned, they're the one that the clients generally interact with. What their role, you said, is kind of like being a referee, right? Okay.
They bring all the pieces together, if you will, the transaction and what everybody has requested, and then they execute on that. But they have to be instructed by either of the parties.
Okay. How about signing? Do they have to sign in? Do they have to come into the office and sign? Can they sign? Can they sign in remotely? How does the signing process work?
I would say most everything is done remotely anymore, and it can. In my case, I offer it for 24/7, 365. Well, 364. I take Christmas off. Anyway, no, it's done remotely.
Okay.
The office signing, it can be done. It's just that a lot of people tend to want to, stay out where they are.
So if somebody wants to sign out of the office, does a notary go meet them? How does that work?
We have remote notaries and myself. And all the sales reps in our company are notaries.
Okay. So you travel to meet with the buyer,
meet them in their house, meet them at Starbucks, meet them wherever.
Okay. Just sign the docs, and that's easy.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah, we do it. I've done it. I've done hundreds of them.
Okay, cool.
And nights, weekends, because that's when people, like you're in a business where it's nights and weekends.
Yep. You work when people are available. Right. So, and then maybe this is the last one since we're talking about escrow. Sure. Closing is typically the end of the transaction. Right. What happens on the day of closing?
Well, everybody's waits for what they call the numbers. And what that is they've taken the documents, completed them, everyone's signed them. Buyer's seller, they're all their appropriate documents, and the deed of trust are the typical documents that have to go down to the courthouse and get recorded. Well, we actually have people that run them down there, couriers, and we have people that literally are in the courthouse. That's what they do all day long. For every title company has their own set of people.
Okay. Yep.
The documents are handed to them, and they get in the excise line, and they get the recording line. There's 2 lines, and they record them. Okay. And basically, that's the final check. The county checks them and makes sure everything looks right, the taxes are right and whatnot. And then they stamp it with a recording number. And that's it. And once we get the numbers, we got the recording numbers, that means it's officially public record, and you can go for it.
Okay, so they sign their documents, their loan's funded, the deeds are recorded at the courthouse, they get their recording numbers, and that's when they get to take the keys.
Yeah, everyone waits for the numbers.
That's awesome.
That's what they do.
Well, thank you so much for some of your time. Is there anything else any last words or anything else that you wanted to
not
share
really.
with the camera?
It's, I've been in this business, for a while. I enjoy it. One of the biggest things is when you do a notary signing, these people are excited. This is the biggest decision they're going to make in their lives. And so the most money, the most stress, the most enjoyment. The most excitement. And so it's kind of fun to be involved in that.
Yeah. Well, I actually do have one more question that just came to mind. So, you've been doing title insurance since 1980. So you've been, what is that?
35 some years.
That's a while.
36 years now.
What's your opinion of what's going on in Seattle right now, the Seattle market?
It's pretty crazy. Yeah. All my customers are basically in the same boat. There's a lot of demand and not enough inventory. And that seems to be... I do not remember a market like that.
Okay, this is new.
This is new. And I hope it lasts.
Is this even more than 2005, 2006, 2007?
Oh, well, 2007 it went whoop.
Yeah, right.
So that was, then that basically, we didn't get out of that for many, many years, and some people still aren't. But this is a pleasant surprise, if you will.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it has to do with the area. It's a lot of high tech is driving it. And we are high tech central here.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of demand and not enough places to buy.
Do you think this is going to continue?
Yes, I think so. It looks like it's at least, I would say, for the next 2 years, which is a safe guess. But I don't see any reason. We basically have taken care of pretty much all the bad loans that created the problem.
Yep.
Before, because you can't really get a bad loan anymore.
You can't get a bad loan.
They won't let you have a bad loan anymore.
Yeah.
So that's a biggie.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything else is outside of that, whatever happens in the world.
Cool. Well, thanks for answering that last question.
Yeah.
Random one. So, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.